snap. This is gonna change your life.
You lean in.
One step closer to heaven.
Baby,
And I'm in this like
one
green.
step closer to you. Oh my gosh! And that's an A factor. Are we the same person?
Anything
Are we the same?
On Monday, I'm waiting.
Let me
I was doing kind of like,
I'm dripping sweat right now. You persevered.
and I was. She's rummaging through the kitchen.
Okay,
There
folks.
she is.
What? Oh, she can do this very well. All of the hard work and all of those soccer games and all of those things that you did mattered. And it's just. Let me think. Do you have any questions before we just like get into it?
No, let's do it.
Your hair. I touch my hair all the time. I'm like, is this
Me
good?
too. My mom gets so mad at me. She's been telling me that since I was a little girl. I would sing and perform, and she'd be like, "Stop touching your hair. It's distracting." I'm like, okay. Right. So I wore my hair in a slick back ponytail until I was like 13. And then I was like, I probably should start wearing my hair down.
No way.
That's a tomboy. Yeah.
Because you played with your hair or because you were a tomboy?
I just hated my hair. I just didn't want it in my face. I just always threw it in like, it was like, you know, when those like bristled brushes, I would seriously like brush it so hard with like so much hairspray and just as hard to my head that you could even imagine with, and then like the tightest ponytail. I like don't even know how I still have hair.
I'm just picturing you with the freaking hairspray right now. That cracks me up because like my sister, I have an older sister. She's your grade, so 1 grade above.
Okay.
But she could pull back her hair super tight like that. And obviously, because she's the older sister, I'm like, how do I get my hair super tight like that? And I just remember picture day, like wet hair, pulled so slick back.
Yeah,
like
you had to do it right after you got out of the shower. It was like you had to do it when your hair was wet. And then the other thing I would do is, this is so embarrassing. Did you go through like the scrunched hair phase, Garnier Fructis, where
like surfer, and it smelled like
and so I would, and I actually have naturally like pretty curly wavy hair. I always like have to kind of straighten pieces before I curl it. It's like a whole thing. But if I wear my hair wet, what I used to do in middle school and high school is I would scrunch it with the Garnier Fructis, and then it was like crunchy, and then I would blow dry and straighten my bangs. That was the cool look, was like the straightened bangs with like the wet scrunched hair.
I need a photo.
I probably could find one.
Honestly, my saving grace is that my hair was my saving grace. LOL. That phrase, people always do that to you. I don't know. Anyway, my name doesn't like have casual phrases with it. Like saving Margie. Like it's like Aunt Margie, like Grandma Margie, the lady in Harry Potter. Mine is so undercover thick and heavy that I could never really get a full scrunch. But I had my friend Zoe. She was just always so trendy. Shout out to you, Zoe, if you're watching this. And she did the perfect scrunch, and I just was like, I couldn't. My girlfriends were always jealous of it. They were like, how do you get, like, oh, I just wanted my hair scrunched and my bangs straightened. And I'm like, I look back now, I'm like, no, you don't. You didn't want to look like that. I don't know what I was thinking. And then there were the layered tank tops. The list goes on and on. Layers were a thing. Polos were a thing. With the pop, did you guys pop the top?
Oh, yeah.
This is what blows my mind. Oh my gosh. I'm over the moon right now. What blows my mind is like when you would like AIM, you know, instant messaging and stuff. Like,
what was your screen name?
Oh, Energizer Mini 424. It's still my email address. What was yours?
Singing Senorita 1 or something like that. Well, I don't know.
You know what? They both still hold. You're still a senorita. You're still singing. You are still my number one. And I'm still Energizer Mini 424.
I know, that's
still
email
me.
Oh, yeah.
Email me later, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, same page. All right. That being said, guys, today's a really big day. We woke up bright and early to bring you one of my most special guests to date. I would say top 3 because we've had 3 episodes.
Woo!
Just kidding. She's my number 1. She's my singing senorita number 1 of all time. I present to you, folks, Grace Leer. Okay, that was a horrible intro. Hold on. Grace Leer. My voice cracked, so we're just gonna. Everybody, I present to you on the Margie Mays Show, the one, the only American Idol top 10 finalist from this season, Grace Leer.
So excited. To be on the Margie Mays Show.
I'm so excited to actually have you, though. We have our American Idol finalist, also one of the most amazing people. Every time I talk to her on FaceTime, you make my day. You really do.
You make my day.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Also, I just love that you have bandana and I've got my little choker. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, so I have a syllabus for today. There's so much I want to talk to you about. I could not be more excited. And I figured the only way we can tackle this is almost going in chronological order of all the things that I'm just so curious about your life, because Grace's life is really interesting, everybody out there listening. Okay, but the first thing I do want to cover, because I always just like got to get at the State of the Union, I have like a weird fetish for knowing exactly where everybody is geographically speaking. Where are you coming from right now? I'm in Los Angeles. Where are you?
Right now I am in Nashville, Tennessee.
And one of my greatest questions that I've had for you, because I just haven't figured out this riddle yet. Where are you actually from? Like, what's your hometown and how did you get to Nashville? And that's a quick answer here, because we'll go into the details later. Don't worry.
Okay, so I'm originally from Danville, California. It is Northern California in the East Bay. So it's like 45 minutes from San Francisco. That's where I'm from, born and raised. I still have family there, but then I have a little bit of family in Chicago. And then I moved out to Nashville a little over 3 years ago.
Incredible. So
that's high level.
High level. We got the macro. We are going to go microbiota. I just made up a term.
I love it.
We're going to get really in detail in a second. Okay, so you're coming at us from Nashville. We're going to reel it back to when Grace was about, let's guess, 10 years old, right?
Okay.
You don't know what I'm going. You don't even know where I'm headed. I know where I'm headed.
I think I know where you're headed.
I cannot have you on the show without talking to you about the fact that you were on American Juniors. Like, for anybody who doesn't know what American Juniors is, I obviously have to set the scene really fast. We all know American Idol, the show, came out. I have no idea what year. I could have looked it up. Maybe 2001. Oh, Kelly Clarkson, 18 years ago yesterday was the day she was crowned as the American Idol. Oh, so
yes, I saw that.
18 years ago. And then after about 4 seasons, American Idol decided, we should make a child version of this, American Juniors. That show came out. I watched it, in Delaware, where I'm from, as a 9-year-old. And it freaking blew my mind. I was like, I need to be on this show so badly. I had no idea how you got on these shows. Well, newsflash, people out there, Grace was on American Juniors. Like, when I found that out about you, I'm dripping sweat right now. I'm so excited to hear about this.
Oh my gosh.
Grace was on American Juniors. I need to know everything, and I have a list of questions because it's very important to my soul to live vicariously through you. How old you were, how you found out about it. I mean, we can break this down, but like, how did you know American Juniors happened? I was always baffled by that. When a new show comes about, like, how did you get on it? And then then I have more questions, but start me with the basics.
Yeah, no, American Juniors was crazy. So I was in 5th grade. So I was 10, 11, and I found out about it through my voice teacher at the time. So I started voice lessons when I was in 3rd grade. So I don't know, I was really young. I just remember being in voice lessons and she was like, hey, there's, you know the show American Idol? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like I watched the first season and I saw that it was the anniversary yesterday for season 18, for season 1, 18 years later. But I seriously remember sitting cross-legged in my living room watching Kelly Clarkson win and sing A Moment Like This. And I was just like, I want to do that. Like, I 100% like, that's what I want to do. And it's so funny. And this is like kind of getting deep, but like how at such a young age, these dreams start to happen and like you start to manifest these things. Like I used to imagine it. I used to draw it every time someone asked me what I want to be when I grow up. A singer. I want to be on stage. That's all I want to do.
All over my body.
I mean, it's just so near and dear to my heart. And so a couple of years later, when I found out about American Juniors, my voice teacher found it in the newspaper. It was like an article in the newspaper that said, auditions happening in Pasadena for, you know, kid version of American Idol. And it started in the UK, American Juniors. Cause do you remember like S Club 7 and
Duh.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. So those little
Oh.
bands were such like a thing. And so they actually had American Juniors. I don't know what it was called. I forget, but it started in the UK and Simon Cowell then brought it over to the States. I'm pretty sure. Anyway,
So
long story short, I went to the audition with my dad and it was wild. And I probably still have some pictures from this. It was, what was 2000 and do you know what it was? Was it 2003, 2000? I forget. We go to Pasadena.
Because we were,
I think it was.
I mean, I was born 93. I was 9 when I watched the show come out. So you would have filmed prior. Maybe it aired in 2003.
Yeah. So it was one of those, early 2000s. So my dad and I, we flew to LA and the first audition was just a humongous cattle call.
Yes.
Like crazy. So we go, it was at the Rose Bowl and
I have just chills everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. And so the first day we got there at like 4 a.m. and there were already thousands of people there. We waited in line all day. I get to the front. They give me a number. They say, we actually stopped auditions today, but come back tomorrow and you'll be like one of the first people to go tomorrow. So my dad and I waited all day, and my dad is such like a stage dad. He had like all the snacks.
I love that.
We kept ourselves busy and it was so funny. And, you know, everyone's singing in line and it's like a whole thing. Anyway, so we were like, okay, I guess we have to get another day at the hotel and we'll come back tomorrow. Come back the next day and
you're 10. You're so little
I'm
here.
10.
Like, I've seen
pictures
of you and you're just
if you saw me on American Juniors, that clip that they showed for Idol, I slicked back ponytail. That was my jam. I just like wanted a ponytail. And I remember sorry, we'll get into that later. Anyway,
go.
The first audition was just so crazy. So we like get into this big room and they had you go up in groups of 5. Yes. And then you stepped forward and you sang a song. And then, this is so embarrassing. Then you had to step back. And once everybody was done singing, you had to dance freestyle. And I'll never forget the song. It was, I'll never forget the song, but now I'm forgetting the song. Oh, let's groove tonight. That like, town. And I remember like every time I hear that song, I think of me not knowing what I'm doing at 10 years old. I didn't really know how to dance. So I knew one move and it was the move my sister and I did. And it was this, you might not remember this, but it was the
yes,
snap. Yeah, that was it. That's all I did. I stood up there and I just did this. And I was just like, oh my God, please pick me for my voice and not for my dance moves. I'm not a dancer. So
this is so cute. Through. And your dad's watching too? Like, is it your parents right there next to you? And
my dad was there. He was in the audience. Yeah. But the song I sang at that audition was Natural Woman. And I was 10 years old. And it was my favorite song. That's what I loved. I grew up on it. Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, those big singers, I just wanted to be so bad. And I was just this tiny little 10-year-old in a pink tank top and a slick back ponytail belting out Natural Woman.
Oh my gosh.
It was so fun. And so I got through. Then it's just like American Idol. You know, you like wait and you get an email. And this was their first time doing this. So they were kind of like going off the cuff.
Yeah.
So then they flew us down probably a couple weeks later and did kind of like an executive audition where we stayed in a hotel and it was just more singing and then like kind of interviews and then like getting to know our story and more dancing, unfortunately, like choreography. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then I like did that whole week and then it was just waiting around to see if I made it to the lives, which was the top 20. And then I was at PE one day at my elementary school and my dad showed up during PE and I was like, why is my dad here? This is weird. And he like walked up to me on the schoolyard and was like, you made the top 20. Like you have to go to LA in 2 weeks. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And again, here I am 10 years old. And guess what I was so sad about? And I cried about that night that I had to miss my 5th grade graduation. I was so upset. You know, you're like, all your friends are like, oh, I'm going to wear this to graduation. And I'm like, I'm not going to be there. And I remember being so sad. But I remember being so sad that I wasn't going to be at my graduation. And my mom's like, Gracie, it's okay. Like, you're fine. So yeah, and then the rest was just very similar to American Idol. They flew us out there. We stayed in a hotel for like a month, getting ready for the live shows and figuring out what to sing. And I really wanted to sing Natural Woman again, but they said I was too young to like makes sense. Like it's a very mature adult song.
Sense. Yes.
So they didn't let me sing it. So then they had me sing To Sir with Love by Lulu, which is such an old song. And then it's just like everything with those two. And that's, I think what kind of hurt me was just picking a song. I mean, song choice at the end of the day, that's what these shows are about. It's everything. So I sang it well. I had fun. It was great. I met Justin Guarini and Gladys Knight, Debbie Gibson, and it was wild. And then that was kind of like the start of a lot of things back in my hometown, but the rest of my life was a lot of just push and pull of, do I go after it? No, I want to be a normal kid. Should I try and get a record deal? No, I want to play soccer. It was like a constant, like, I'm very down to earth, and I have a very down to earth.
About you. Yeah.
And thank you. That's very sweet. But I think I just wanted I wanted to do life as a normal kid. And I did love music and I did love to sing. And I knew that was never going to go away. And I'm a huge believer in timing. I know you are too. I just always knew there was going to be a time where I knew that I could do it 100%. But it always just kind of felt like my life was a constant balance of soccer, school, singing, and just like friends and just being, I'm one of four. I'm the baby of four kids. And I just was like, I don't know. So American Juniors was a crazy, crazy chapter of my life. And I'm so grateful for it. And there's a lot of kids I still kind of keep in touch with that are still doing music. And it's really fun. I mean, Lucy Hale, she's not doing music, but has an amazing career.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and it's so funny.
I have so many specific questions about this. I mean, that is
sorry, that's my story though. That's it.
That story I was on my toes. I had chills 99% of it. It's just, I'm living vicariously through you. Like, that is so sweet to me because I just all the feelings that you've had through your life, I really empathize with them. And I really am like, I don't know if it's something about our trajectories are similar, or I don't know what it is, but I just feel myself in you so much when you talk about this. And I'm so amazed by that story. And okay, hold on. The slick back hair killing me here. Every time I think of you, it's like Grace Leer, slick back hair, little girl, singing Natural Woman. Okay, wait. Who were the judges on that show? I just need to know really fastly. Yes. Was it Simon?
So the judges were Justin Guarini, who came in second on American Idol, Gladys Knight, legend, and Debbie Gibson, legend. Yeah. And then Ryan Seacrest was the judge. Yeah. So that was my first time meeting Ryan.
Frosted Tips. It's so wild.
Frosted Tips. Sweetest guy. And I remember being like a little kid, like, he's so cute. But he's very attractive. And then Megan, executive producer Megan. Yes, thank you. I always forget her last name. Yep. And I remember my first American Idol audition, walking in and her being like, "Hey, Grace." And I'm like, "Hi." And she remembered my dad, of course. Everyone always remembers my dad.
Of course they do. I mean, Buzz is literally on the syllabus. He's part of the syllabus today. He's important. He's an important figure. Gosh. Okay, I'm just so proud of you. And what I love about that story is from the moment that I met you, and I obviously have that, we can reminisce about.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
The first time, you just have gratitude that pours out of you. And I remember you made me tear up when I watched your audition on this American Idol, like grown up American Idol, because like I have chills thinking about it, because I really relate to that feeling of you have had this dream for a long time and you're just so gracious about it and you're so thankful. That is so attractive as a person. And I have chills up and down. I probably will this whole time. I'm so excited for you, and just that feeling of you persevered and you have never given up and you've loved this for so long. And I just think there's something so beautiful. I mean, it's amazing when this stuff happens for 16-year-olds, but when you've like lived a little bit more life and you've held on so tight, there's just something so beautiful when it finally blossoms. And I'm seeing you blossom, and you just like, you trying to stifle back your tears in your audition, just like, meanwhile I'm like, I did my audition the first season I'm on, and I'm just like, what? I couldn't contain myself, but you just so graciously trying to contain yourself was just so beautiful to me. And I am so proud of you. Like with the top 20 thing, the way the show worked. Did they film everything prior to that? When your dad came out to you on the playground in school, all the stuff you did before that, did that turn into the show, or was that pre-production?
Yeah, they showed that on the show.
Okay.
They showed that for like 2 or 3 episodes or something like that. Yep, they showed like the group of 5. But it was so funny because on the season of American Idol, when I sang Natural Woman for Top 40, I had told the producers, actually this song, I auditioned for American Junior. And of course they're like, we need to find that footage. And they couldn't find it because it's so buried. And they only were able to find that I'm singing the like one step closer to heaven, baby. And I'm in this like green.
Closer to you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that's the only thing they could find. Like they couldn't find the very first auditions for some reason, that like very first group round of, and I'm like, yeah, it's buried away.
Somebody out there find it and give it to Grace. Like always trying to get someone in the audience to do things for me. Yeah. Someone like send me cookies. Like, it's just crazy. So amazing.
So full circle. It's not even funny. So
full circle. That's the perfect word. I'm just so happy for you. A little bit of that was for me. Like it's for everyone out there, but I needed to learn about that.
That is just so, when you told me that you watched that and were like wanting to be on that show, I just think that's so funny.
I was heartbroken that they canceled.
So weird.
I mean, it's just so funny that, wow. I mean, that's so cool. I'm just really, you're my idol. Okay. What I want to know about is, so what we learned chatting before we did this show, to everybody watching out there, all the thousands of audience members tuning into this, you and I both were in college almost at the exact same time, which is wild, both in Northern California. So I shipped myself across the country, and while I was at Stanford, you were at Cal, which rivals. We are rivals. I'm trying to this is me punching you, but it always comes up on the wrong side. Rival schools. I'm fascinated by this because when I was little, you and I both, we have in common is that we had this dream really little, but we both had, I did squash the way you did soccer. I was a big sports person, every weekend traveling for tournaments with my slick back ponytail. And it was sports and school were the most important things growing up. And so I had to put singing on this back burner, but then I was always like, I'm going to go to school in California. I'm going to go to Stanford and I'm going to be a singer. Did you? And then once I got there, it was like, well, I was on this varsity sports team for a hot second. And then also at this amazing school that I was incredibly intimidated by, like academically. And I was like, wait,
oh gosh, can't even imagine.
And I remember auditioning for this a cappella group. And then that's where I first got some type of validation, like, oh, you can sing somewhat well, because I just came from this small little Delaware area. No one, and I'd only ever sung opera because that was all that was available to me. So I never really was told like, oh, maybe you can sing, and it was in a bigger arena of people. So for you, I'm just curious, like, did you do music in college? Like, what was that like for you? Were you, because when I got to Stanford, I was like, I studied human biology. I was like, this is an amazing place to study something like academic. So I just kind of tried to balance it all. And then music started just encroaching more and more in my brain. But I want to know for you, because you made that leap. Like I remember watching the American Idol, and they discussed that you were kind of always like teeter-tottering, which is just amazing foresight that you had as a kid to be like, yeah, I want to live a regular life too, but I also am going to have this music career. I mean, the narratives we paint in our heads as little kids is amazing. And then to see them actually manifest is just like, that's the goosebump moment. But when you went to college, were you truly like, I want to have this moment for myself where I am in college doing soccer and studying stuff? Or were you also like doing a lot of music at the same time? Or what was that moment for you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So it was a lot, again, constant balance, and I did think about not going to college. I remember I said that to my mom once. I was like, maybe I won't go to college. I'll just really go after music. And she was like, okay, well, it would be a good backup though. You know how parents are like,
the backup
okay,
plan.
love you, but if you have the opportunity to get college education, go for it. So this is where soccer comes in to play a lot. And they didn't really talk about soccer on American Idol, but I actually was a competitive soccer player right at the same time American Juniors was happening. So at 11 years old, I started playing elite competitive soccer. So I played competitively all through club. And then in high school, I made varsity as a freshman and then played all 4 years, was captain in my senior year. And I got seen at a couple of college showcases. And then at the same time, during high school, I was playing competitive soccer. And then I also had a producer when I was like 14, 15, and we were making demos. Like the music was kind of like, it was what was popular. You know, it's like Kelly Clarkson meets like Ashley Simpson, like Avril Lavigne kind of stuff. I was doing kind of like, I was doing kind of like, oh my God, on a Monday, I'm waiting. Tuesday, I'm waiting. Oh my God, I freaking love Ashley Simpson.
Oh, same. Oh,
so yeah. That was kind of that was like something I was experimenting with. So I didn't get into country music until like later in high school, but I always grew up on it. Always was growing up on 90s country. I just, you know, it was kind of like what was popular at the time, was like kind of like pop, punk, rock kind of stuff. Yes. So I got into that. And so Ashley Simpson. So I literally had a calendar since I was like in 8th grade, and it was like soccer tournament, national anthem, Radio Disney event, friend's birthday party. You know, that's literally was like my life. Yeah. So like singing was still a big part. And I was in choir, always singing. And I was singing after juniors, I got opportunities to sing at like professional sporting events. So I was doing national anthems like all over the Bay Area. So I was getting really great experience, like being in front of large crowds, singing a cappella, playing shows, you know, like even though it was with tracks, I was learning how to perform, and I was really coming into my own. Anyway, I got a couple opportunities to be seen by colleges. The Cal women's soccer coach was interested in me, and I went to a camp sophomore summer going into junior year, and then they offered me a scholarship, and I accepted it and was like, holy crap, I'm going to UC Berkeley and I'm going to play Division I soccer. And and it was crazy because I'm not in education and school. I'm one of those people and one of those students that was like, I had to work so hard just to get like a B. School did not come easy for me for some reason. Common sense, got it. Creativity, got it. But like
we're the opposite then.
And like, okay, yeah, hi Stanford. So it was like just really hard. And I was like constantly having tutors and making flashcards and just like
and making
always asking for help.
Like making review sheets. Like
totally. Like just like crazy. And I would just like kind of scrape by. And so I was lucky enough that my scholarship helped me, you know, get into an amazing school. And then that only made me a better student because I was like, okay, I got to get it together. But then kind of what you're asking about, like, where did music come in college? It kind of did take a back burner. I will say, I always said, I was like, okay, 4 years and then music 100%. I would have graduated high school. I would have had my undergrad backup. Great. And then to your point, no, I did not study music. I studied public health.
Are we the same person?
Do anything with
Are we the same? Are we
like, I don't
one and the same?
No.
Human biology with concentration in the psychology of health and wellness in society. Straight up.
That is crazy. Mine was really focused on like the history of medicine. I loved like the anthropology classes about like medicine and obviously health. And then I took a bunch of like public health courses and whatnot. And oh my gosh, it was, So, and that comes from my mom. She's a physician assistant. So I grew up just like constantly being around the health world and like medical stuff. Yes. And I was like, maybe nursing school could be a cool thing for me. Again, I'm a crazy type A, prepare for everything. So I was like, if, you know, music doesn't work out, or maybe by the time I graduate, I'm just not into it, maybe I'll go to nursing school. So it was just kind of like having this like backup plan.
Totally.
But I got injured my freshman year, redshirted. So I actually played 4.5 years. And I'm so glad I did, because I was like, I'm not done playing soccer. Like I really wanted to be captain. I really wanted to like hang my hat. I struggled during, it was hard. It was, you get there and it's a lot like me now in music. I came from being, one of the top players, and I was a forward my whole life, scoring all these goals, get to college and everyone's an amazing player, and everyone is the best player in their club, and everyone's the best player in their high school, and everyone has all the accolades. And you just look around and you're like, oh gosh, I have to work a million times harder if I'm going to be a starter and if I'm going to get a lot of playing time. So that was the constant battle, was like just working my butt off.
That's why you have moved to such incredible leaps and bounds, because that's where growth really happens, is like when you,
it does.
And I just see it in you. Like you have that work ethic, you have that drive, and you have the passion. It's like, it's about getting on those metaphorical stages, or in your case now, real stages, where you aren't the best one. And it can make you feel really small and nervous and, and doubtful at first. And then you persevere, and like, that is just
that's what you saw. That's what you saw in my first audition. Everything you just said, that made me cry, because it was like, it makes me emotional now, because it's, you're like, am I good enough? Am I going to stand out enough? Like, do I have what it takes? Am I just like everyone else? You know, oh my gosh, the constant doubt is just so ridiculous. And that's why it was such a crazy thing in that audition room. It was like just finally being seen. And you're like,
yes.
Oh my God, I do have something. And that was like such a crazy, crazy moment. And I'll never forget that. And I know I'll never forget being in that room and looking down at that American Idol logo. And maybe you had the same feeling, because it's changed your life. And I just had this huge wave come over me that was like, this is going to change your life. Yes. And it was the first time I've ever like heard a voice of some sort that was like, this is it. You are finally going to be seen. You're finally going to be heard. This is going to work. And I was just like, holy crap, this is nuts. And anyway, so college. And so, when I look back, I'm getting emotional, because I actually never really tied it to those years at Cal, constantly battling and constantly finding ways to get better, and to say, you know, and to ask my coach, hey, can you do one-on-one training with me? What do I need to work on? Where do I need to get better? You know, and then your mental toughness is huge too. So not letting those voices take over, and jumping on the field and telling yourself you are good enough. And when I did get those minutes to play, even if sometimes I would get like 5 minutes at the end of the game, and I was just like, okay, that's 5 minutes for me to prove that I should be a starter, or that's 5 minutes to score a goal. And it's the same way with the music community. If you get an opportunity, and again, you know, on American Idol, I sang 2 songs, or Hollywood Week, you get a minute and a half to sing a song. And every time I did it, I was like, wow, this minute and a half has to define me. That sucks. But it's like, that's what I have to do. It's like, I don't have a choice. We're all on the same playing field. We all just have to take that and say, okay, this is a song that's going to define me. So crazy. But so take a couple voice classes towards the end of college, because I was done. I was like pretty much done with everything. So then I was taking I even took an acting class. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Cute.
It was so fun. Yeah. So I did that like over a summer, and then I did a couple of voice classes. So towards the end of my college, I got into music a little bit more. And then I was like, I kicked myself, because I was like, oh man, maybe I should have minored in music. I probably could have done that.
You sound like
but you know, you get you get caught up. I mean, and it's like, you know, I was also, again, growing up, and college is just fun in general, you know, going to parties and being a normal kid, and just like making friends and all that stuff. So, I mean, college was huge. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do music now. And then I was like, where do I start? This is wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Then that was a whole nother chapter in my life.
And this is why I'm so amazed and fascinated by you, because everything you say, I'm like, I felt that, like having these amazing opportunities and wanting to take advantage of them. And then even an amazing opportunity such as college. What a privilege and an amazing opportunity. Totally. Even if you take it back to like what we see growing up, like college is like in every movie, it's college.
Yeah.
You really lean in. You really lean into every situation. And what's so funny, and this is actually the next thing I wanted to get to, was when I met you on American Idol. I mean, my memory of meeting you better be the same one you have, which is when we were by the food, like the buffet, and you had your fringe on. Yes. And what's so incredible, and then I'll let you have your side of the story.
So cute.
What round was that? That was third, like that solo round?
The third round. And okay, well, what did you want to ask me? Because I have something I want to say.
No, I want you to talk. What was so amazing is having done this 2 seasons in a row, and you start from the bottom, and then you watch who ends up rising to the top. I mean, everybody's a winner in this situation. It's not about winning and losing, but it's
Totally.
cool to see who gets all the way to the end. So I've had first impressions of so many people, whether it was like, I had Maddie and COLLAB, I met them at one point, and I had a first impression of them, which was obviously very memorable because Maddie was in costume, but then everybody else, you know, you're just literally like so kind of nervous, shy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not gonna lie, there were a lot of first impressions of people who I was like, I'm never going to see them again. Like, I can't lie. Like, there's just certain people who truly come to life on stage as a musician and whatnot. But I'm like, you are so personable that when I met you, I was pricked by our conversation. You had humility, humbleness, and I just like, why do I have chills constantly when I'm talking to you? I just remembered it. It just was, and maybe it was your fringe. Maybe you had benefit of the doubt because you had the fringe jacket, and I could just always remember that. But like, you were memorable to me, even in that really tiny window. And I can't say the same about everybody else that, I mean, are incredible musicians and are amazing artists, but like on that person to person, like first impressions, and first impressions aren't obviously everything. You can rise above any bad first impression, but I just loved ours. And so I'm curious, like what that was like.
But you were the same for me, because I mean, you're just the sweetest thing. But I remember seeing you actually the first day of Hollywood Week. And I remember seeing you, and you had your mask on, and you had your gloves on, and you had your beautiful outfit on, your cute little bodysuit. You were so funny. And I remember being like, because I'm so sorry, I didn't watch American Idol. No,
I'm not offended.
And I'm not offended when people are like, don't know that I was on it, because I'm like, that's fine. No one really watches it. Sorry. I mean, we do, but like, I mean, it's been on for so long.
It's not the same as it was
just,
when it was Carrie.
No, and it's been on forever. So I didn't know that you were on the previous season, because everyone was like, I was like, oh my God, who is that? She's so funny. I just remember seeing like, you were so funny, and you were doing something in front of the camera, and it was just so cute. And they were like, oh, that's Margie Mays. And I was like, oh,
who is that?
Yeah. And they're like, oh, she was on last season. She's so bubbly and funny, and she's great. I actually think it was Ren Patrick who knew you. And because Ren and I really hit it off. Sweetest girl.
Hi, Ren.
And so her and I, hi, Ren, love you so much.
We love you.
Anyway, I remember being like, oh, cool. And I don't know, there was an energy about you that I was like, she just seems really cool. But you were also a little intimidating, because I was like, oh gosh, she was on last season. She knows what she's doing. She's beautiful. Totally. She's so extroverted. And I just remember being like, wow, like, but then when you came up to me at the food table, so it was the same memory. And
did I come up to you? Like, how did that even start?
We were grabbing, I think we were grabbing our food at the same time, but I'm glad we already talked about how much doubt we've had, because that was my hardest day. And I was covering it up like nobody's business. And I had cried the night before. You know, a lot of people cry during Hollywood Week. I cried once the night before and I waited until I got to my room, so I didn't do it on camera, but I cried in the shower because I was exhausted. I was like, it was probably 2 a.m. We had to be up at 5 to do my hair and makeup.
Yes.
But I also was doubting my song choice like crazy, because, you know, they give you that list and there weren't a lot of country songs on it. And the country songs were either like Carrie Underwood songs, and I'm like, I don't want to sing Carrie Underwood. And then, or there were songs that like I kind of knew, but I didn't know enough to feel like I could really connect to the song. I didn't just want to get through the song. I wanted to do well.
Make a moment.
Then make a moment. And then they're like, you get the advantage of using the full band. So then I was like, crap, I got to pick a song that also has a full band. I play with a band in Nashville. I should probably show that. But the only song that stuck out to me that I was immediately, and I'm a big like follow your gut person, was Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. And I was like, great, that is the most anticlimactic song, doesn't really do much. There's no way that this is going to be good enough. And so I cried in the shower that night, being like, just doubting myself. And then when I ran into you at the tables, and you were like, I think you probably complimented my jacket or something, and then I probably complimented you, and then you were like, what song did you sing? And I was like, oh, I sang Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. And you were like, great song choice, that's a great song choice. I remember being like, thank you. Like, I just needed to hear that. And that's what's so weird about the universe. I feel like I'm talking really loud. I usually talk really loud. That is okay. That is the universe just like, I was like, gosh, I needed to hear that because so much doubt that day. And, but it was one of those things I turned to like emotion, and I was like, I'm just going to throw my emotion into this song like crazy because it's an emotional song. And I just got through it, and I made it, and I was crazy. And I was bummed that you didn't, because you were amazing. And I saw your performance. I just think you're incredible. And I love you so much. And I like knew the minute I met you, and you were just so, you were humble, and you weren't what I expected, because 2 days prior, I was looking at you like, oh my gosh, that's Margie Mays. She's so this and she's so that. But you have this side of you that's so genuine and sweet. Aww. And I love you for that.
Thank you. I'm so glad that like this brought a friendship for us. I just will never forget that moment meeting you, because, you know, you're so special, but also like it was a special moment for us. Like we're never going to forget that little moment in our life. And it's one of the most emotional things of all time, especially for us dreamers out there who were just holding on so tight. And we were watching this unlived dream play out in front of us. I mean, it will probably forever give me whole body chills. I've had it basically the whole time talking to you, just like so special. And I just remember saying to you, like, I obviously had that advantage of doing it the prior season. And the one thing Katy Perry had said was like, she sat us all down right before solo round, and she said, guys, don't try to impress us this next round. We just want to feel something, make the audience feel something, make America feel something, so that they love you. And the moment that you said you were singing Rainbow, I was like, perfect song choice. That was what matters. And you, that's what why I resonate with you, is because there's all these people trying to do so much extra stuff sometimes. And yeah, my personality will be extra when the camera comes on, just because I can't help myself. I'm a ham. But like in regards to the music and the real, genuine authenticity stuff, it's like, let it be simple. And that's so funny too, that you remember that conversation, because when I found out I was going to be on American Idol, you know, rewind 2 years ago, I had one friend who knew one guy who'd been on one of these shows, and it wasn't even Idol, but he set up this group text, and the first piece of advice he said was, do not worry about doing all the extra runs or riffs. No one cares about it. Sing from your heart. Those are the people that go far. And the fact that it's always been one of the most poignant points of advice I've gotten, and the fact that it held true, it just is so beautiful. And it's all about being genuine, about being yourself, and you have that genuineness, and that's an it factor to me. It really is. It makes you stand out. And that moment, standing by the food. Okay, moving on, because we have chatted so much. A couple other things I need to ask you, because they're important to me. Okay, this is super interesting, and we can cut this out if this is something that you don't want to talk about, but this is something fascinating to me. When we've been talking, you mentioned timing has been really important in your life. So there's a gap. So I love a good timeline, right? And I'm looking at your life, and I'm like, okay, you graduated college, what? You were 22?
23. And I'm 28.
Right. So there's this 5-year window when you moved to Nashville 3 years ago, and you talk about timing so much to me. And you mentioned that you had like gone through a breakup, and that timing was so pertinent and ended up being such a blessing to you, somehow related to how Idol came about. And I'm genuinely intrigued by that, if that came into play, or if that like opened up your mind to start doing things that were more uncomfortable for you, or are they totally not even related?
No, I'd be happy to talk about that. So I went through a couple breakups. I had a college boyfriend, and then after college, I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I get started? I had no original music. So I actually auditioned for The Voice right out of college. The best thing that came out of that experience was I met so many people from Nashville, you know, because again, you get really close with those people. And we all stayed in a hotel together, and it was just like constantly jamming. You know, we were there for a month, constantly jamming. People,
I had no idea.
Playing their songs. And I was 23. It was like it was one of the first things I did out of college, because I was like, maybe let's just kind of see what happened. But again, talk about timing. I had no idea who I was. I knew I wanted to do country music. I didn't know what kind. There's so many different versions. Do I want to be Carrie Underwood? Do I want to be Miranda Lambert? Do I want to be Patsy Cline? What do I like? So it was a very big growing experience for me. And I met so many people, and I kept hearing Nashville, Nashville, Nashville. Okay. And I was like, maybe I need to go to Nashville. So after that experience, I went back home, and I was devastated because I didn't, you know, got eliminated, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. Am I even good enough?
This feeling is so
just like
looms over
my
you.
family was sad for me. It was just like a whole thing. And I was just like, this was like the worst thing in my life. And it wasn't. It was the best thing because I'm one of those people too, and I'm sure you're the same way. You know, when you fail.
Right. It never feels
Not
like
really.
failure. For anybody listening, if you're too busy being proud of yourself, it's so awesome.
Sure. Exactly. And I know it's so corny, but something I used as a coach, because I also coached soccer right after college. Something that we always say is failure is fertilizer. It just helps you grow and it helps you really kind of failure is fertilizer. It just because every time you do, you break it down and you're like, okay, how did that happen? And you know, what do I need to change and how do I grow from it? So I came back after that experience and was like, okay, here are all my goals. I want to start writing music. I want to learn the guitar. I want to start performing. I need to find my sound. And I really want to move to Nashville. So I had this huge list. And
that's so amazing.
I ended up, this is so funny. The first gig I did is I was on my computer. I'm in the Bay Area. Okay. And I'm trying to do country music. And if you go way up Northern California, you'll find some, but I'm in the Bay Area. So I Googled like country bars in San Francisco. And the first one pops up and it was this new bar called Jackson. It's called Jackson SF. And I'm like, okay. So I email them and I say, hey, I'm a country singer. Do you guys ever have live music? They go, no, but send us your stuff. Maybe we can work something out. I sent them I recorded it on my, what is that called? GarageBand. Yep. With a track.
Yep.
I think it was probably a Dixie Chick song. And I think I sent them my national anthem because I had a demo of my national anthem.
Yes.
And so I sent them that and they were like, great. Do you want to come this weekend? And I was like,
so scared.
Okay. 1, I don't have a band. 2, I don't play an instrument. Guess I'm doing karaoke. So I showed up to the bar.
Amazing. You're amazing. That is so amazing to me.
Because they have a DJ and they didn't have a stage. Everyone knows Jackson. People are watching this in San Francisco. It's really just a bar and they throw on a bunch of pop country and you just have drinks and you dance. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's just a bar.
Aww.
But I stood up on this some sort of fireplace thing and gave them a CD with tracks on it. I sang 2 songs. I sang a Little Big Town song and I think I sang a Dixie Chick song and just sang the 2 songs. And then from there, they were like, that was awesome. Because they were just like, that was cool. The live singer, that's kind of cool. So they were like, do you want to come back next week? So then I was like, maybe I'll find a guitarist and just have him play some covers for me. So I stumble upon Kyle Klaus, who, if people saw, he was on my audition with me. He's my best friend, biggest supporter. I met him through a mutual friend in college. And I was like, hey, can you come play with me? And he was like, sure. We played together at the gig. And then he's like, hey, as we're walking out of the bar, he was like, hey, I actually am more of a songwriter and I have a ton of songs I've written for female country artists. I love 90s country. Would you want to hear them? And I was like, sure. So he came over. It's so weird. So
it's so amazing that it all strings together and just where
it's wild.
Yeah.
And amazing. This is all the year after The Voice and being I'm a nobody. So he comes over to my mom. I was living at my mom's house. Comes over to my mom's with his notebook and his guitar one day, and he plays me. The first song he played me was called Des Moines, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been looking for. It was real, authentic country. And I loved singing it. And I loved how honest he was as a writer. And then the rest was just we just kept climbing. We were like, okay, let's start writing together. And then I learned all of his songs that he had written for a female artist, probably 5 or 6 songs. And then we started playing those at Jackson. Then we played our first full band gig at Jackson. We never even rehearsed. Kyle just called me one day. He's like, Grace, I found us a bass player. I was like, cool. And then he was like, oh, I got us a fiddle player. And I'm like, okay. And so that weekend we played at Jackson with just no drums. It was Kyle on acoustic, a stand-up bass player, Emma, and then a fiddle player.
That is
and then me just singing. It was so funny. And so it just kind of that's just the grind. It was you just got to start. It was let me just start.
Amazing that you did that.
And looking back, it's I can't believe I was a little embarrassed just singing the tracks, but it's well, what am I going to do? Just kind of do what you can do and do what's tangible. And then I just felt we were building and building and building. So as we were building, then we started getting paid gigs and we were like, this is cool. So then we got this really big gig. We opened for Clay Walker, which was a huge deal. We were really not that good. And we pulled it off somehow. It was really funny. But anyway, after that, it was the week before that show. And I had a boyfriend at the time, my college boyfriend. And I said, I don't know, relationships are funny. My mom told me a long time ago, people come into your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. You've heard that phrase?
No, but I thought you were quoting Wicked at first, and then
Oh,
it's like For Good, the song.
oh
Linda
yeah.
sings it.
Yes.
But anyway, say that one more time, just so that I have that forever in lock.
People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Okay,
and
you're gonna make me cry. That's so
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
But it's with anybody. It's not just relationships, it's friendships. It's really anyone. So I feel like, my college relationship, it did its thing, and it was great, and it was what it was, but I was ready to enter this other chapter. I was just kind of on this like role. So I went to him and I said, I really want to move to Nashville. Do you think you'd ever move there with me? And he said, no. Why would you do that? What if it doesn't work out? Just like all these kind of like negative, like doubtful. And I was like, you're not my guy. So I broke up with him, and it was really sad. It was hard. It was not easy. Breakups aren't easy. And even if you are the one doing I still feel, even to this day, I feel like I was 24. And, I was young and just kind of like, this is what I'm doing. I've made up my mind and I'm doing this. And I don't think I really did think about his feelings too much, which I think you just kind of get clouded sometimes. And then the train was on the tracks. It was rolling because I was like, okay, great. I'm out of this relationship. Boom. I went to go visit Nashville with a couple girlfriends the following week, walking down Broadway, like, yep, I'm moving here. Went back home, said, okay, I have to save up X amount. I was like babysitting, coaching soccer, still playing gigs in the Bay Area. Saved up a bunch of money. And 6 months later I moved, and Kyle came with me. So this is the whole gap that you're talking about. So we ended up getting to Nashville, and I drove my car across the country with my mom, and it was a great little trip, a bonding experience for the two of us. But I then started another relationship when I got here. So I kind of went from relationship to relationship.
Okay.
And again, reason, season, or a lifetime. This guy was definitely a reason, because I got to Nashville not knowing anyone, not knowing if I was going to like it, not knowing if I was going to succeed. I got a 9-to-5 sales job because I was like, well, I gotta pay my rent. I gotta make money. And I was like, might as well put my degree to use. So I got this sales job at a startup. Yeah. And then from there I was doing this long distance relationship, actually.
Okay.
He was on the West Coast and I was here in Nashville. It was great though, because he kind of was like my safety net. Like, it was like,
you could go.
I was still doing my thing. Yeah, I was still doing my thing. I still was making a ton of friends. I was still doing the music because he wasn't here. So I still was like growing. I loved him a lot. And he was such a positive voice, and he was really encouraging, and it was wonderful. And it was great. There was nothing wrong with it. But then it just kind of got to, it was last spring. So not this past one, but the year before, that we just kind of said to each other, like, he wasn't going to move to Nashville. I wasn't going to leave anytime soon. And it was just like, this is the adult thing to do, is to just kind of cut ties and like, we love each other, and that we still, we still have a great relationship. We're still really good friends. And he was so supportive during Idol. And it was a very mature breakup,
so
just
mature.
like
so mature.
Very mature. But it was hard, again, always hard. And it was hard because since we were doing long distance, he was always my person I spoke to every day and every night, and FaceTimed and told my days about. And so you kind of start to realize, okay, I don't have that person anymore. Who else do I have? And at the end of the day, you have yourself. And it's like, that's it. Really, I have a ton of friends, and I'm so lucky.
Wise.
And I have an amazing family, but I'm like, this is it. Really, I have me. And it was such a cool time, and to find my independence. And again, a friend told me really early on, as I was really missing him and kind of struggling, she was like, the goal is to be alone without feeling lonely. So just be alone, and it's okay. You're not lonely. You're just alone. And now I freaking love being alone. It's my favorite thing. I love like sitting and having my coffee by myself in the morning, and, having a glass of wine at night, watching a movie by myself, or cooking by myself. Like, I've really grown into this independent person. And then when American Idol came about, and again, I feel like I'm talking forever, but
I'm hanging on every word. So
I'm trying not to say too many likes or ums, but
when American Idol, I can cut them out. I can cut them out.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. When American Idol came about, really, it was just momentum. It was just saying yes, kind of what you're saying, saying yes to everything, just taking a risk. And I remember watching, after I met you during Hollywood Week, I went on a rabbit hole with you and I watched one of your YouTube videos where you talked about, I think it was like a New Year's thing that you went through. You said like your 10 things that like you would, you know,
to make it a life-changing year. Yeah.
Yep. And one of those was to do things that scare you. Something along those lines, right? Do something that scares you, take a risk. And I think that is such amazing advice because it really does feel so cool when you do take a risk and you do something that scares the crap out of you and it turns out to be the best thing. And that was American Idol for me. I remember driving to that audition with Kyle being like, it would be so easy to not go. It would be so easy to turn around and just go back to my little bubble in Nashville and keep playing the bars that we're playing and keep playing our original music that we're playing and keep doing my 9 to 5 in my comfy little circle. And Kyle was like, Grace, you're going to be fine. And I was like,
God for Kyle. Thank God for Kyle. In that moment.
I know. And it was the worst and best day of my life because I was nervous as heck. And I just was so scared. Like talk about it was the celebrity audition.
Oh, okay. That one. Did you just see a posting for it or did someone reach out to you?
Someone reached out to me for actually the second time because I did it the year before and they said no. In the very first producer round, they were like, or they said we'll be in touch. And I'm like, okay, Megan, got it. Okay. I see what you said. I see what you're saying. And that was fine. And I look back at again, like timing.
Yes.
The year before they said no. That year I didn't bring Kyle. I didn't sing an original song. I kind of knew who I was, but I still was with that boyfriend. I still didn't know. And the feeling of when I broke up with him, and I just remember the next morning I woke up and I drove to work and I was getting so philosophical, but I looked at the Nashville skyline and it was the first time I felt like I could really put both feet down because when you're in this long distance relationship, even though you think like, we're great, everything's fine. Like I had 1 foot away from Nashville. I had 1 foot with him and I had 1 foot here. And so when I could let go and it was just about me, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm here. And now I can figure out who Grace is like in Nashville. And it was such a wonderful,
super scared, but also super present. Like you've got it's the leaning in thing. Be present.
Lean in.
And be freaking scared and fake it until finally you're like,
oh yeah, I love when people are like, you didn't look nervous at all. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea. It's scary. It's vulnerable, you know? And you're like, gosh, you're being judged. And oh my gosh, all the doubt, all the like things were like, what if they say this? What if they say that? What if I do this? What if I do that? And it's just like,
when what I saw in you was what I felt too and what's so crazy, Grace, is that I sang when I walked into my first
I love your
filmed audition. I sang Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin.
You did?
Yes. I walked in and I promise you, like, so I just have such an affinity for you. Like I walked in, I had met Maddie, Poppy, and Caleb. I'd been punked. It was already the most crazy day. I did all my crazy antics. And then I was like, and I knew it was going to be a shock to the system, but I was like, I had never planned to be just the personality. I was like, wait, I have a passion to sing and to be heard and to sing serious songs and all the songs you grew up on. I also grew up on. So yeah, I was like, I'm going to sing Aretha Franklin I'm going to sing Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin. And it was just, I knew when the editing happened, it was going to be a mismatch. And that was Lionel's reaction. He was like, you know what you did when you walked in, and it's all about being an artist and that instant identity. And he was like, you know, who you just brought into the room and what you just sang are totally two different people. And he saw that I was a Gemini with so many different personalities. He's just so dang wise. But I said to him, thankfully, I had planned for that. I had enough self-awareness. I knew I was going to be personality. I was like, oh, I have this other song. It might line up better. And that's immediately what they cut to. But when you sang Natural Woman in Hawaii, I lost it. I was like, this girl's a star. And I got front row because Johnny was the next person or something. So I was right there. And it just give me chills. You give me chills. And I'm so proud of you. And I just love your gratitude. I love everything about you. And you'll just have to be a guest another time because I could talk to you for 3 hours on this thing. And I don't want to take up all your time. Okay, we've talked about so much stuff. I'm so amazed by you. You've given me chills this whole time. I literally have to cut things off the syllabus because you're just too freaking interesting. You're going to come back. But I do need to take a moment before we get to the grand finale of today, I want to celebrate you because you got a freaking record deal.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm just so proud of you. And I was on the phone with your dad literally last week, and I was like, I'm so proud of her. And he's like, move aside. Like, I'm so proud of her. It's like, Margie, you cannot be president of Proud of Grace fan club, but I am so proud of you. Does it just feel like full circle? Like,
that was an emotional moment when I found that out. Yeah, because, you know, even making top 10, I mean, that was crazy. I did not ever expect everything that happened in the season, between what happened in Hawaii with Lauren and I, and then having to do the show from home and COVID and all that stuff. Just so much that, you know, and as a preparer and a type A person, it was like, wow, this is really throwing me. So
you couldn't prepare for those things. Absolutely.
No, you can't. I was so grateful even just making top 20. The feeling of people voting for you is such a crazy feeling. Like, you're like, wow, people are literally going on their phone or out of their way to make my dreams come true. That's insane. Yeah, to vote for me. And I was just constantly gosh, thank you. And yeah, it's a pretty crazy feeling. But then, so when I made top 10, I was like, would love to keep going. Then when I got eliminated, I kind of knew it was coming. I don't know what it was, or it was the universe or what, but I just kind of felt like I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to end on Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and like, I'm happy with it. That's okay. And I was fine, but I was like, okay, American Idol's over, chapter closed. And you know this feeling, you're like, okay, chapter closed. Yes. What's the next thing? And for me, I was like, okay, it's COVID, but I'm going to go back to Nashville soon. I'm going to keep working with Kyle. Now that I have this bigger following, I could probably, hopefully quit my job because I'll have more like income coming from music. So my business brain was spinning because it's a business. And then, but I did end up quitting my job anyway. I forgot. I just kind of did it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be in sales anymore. And it was funny because I called my boss and I was like, he's like, hey, are you calling me to tell me you made top 7? I was like, no, I actually got eliminated and I also quit, but I'm sorry.
But I love you. Thanks for the job.
But I love you. And they were amazing. No, they were so supportive and wonderful, but they knew it was coming. Anyway, I didn't think anything was really going to come out of that except for just like great exposure and you know, getting to play more gigs back in Nashville. So when I got the call from 19 that they were connecting me to Red Light Management here in Nashville, which is a huge, amazing management company.
Such good
they are really incredible. And then those conversations started. I was just pinching myself. I was like, wait, what? They want to talk to me? Are you sure? You sent in my music? Really? I was just like, what? And so I had that first conversation with them, and it's just a really weird feeling. And I've never been in the industry. I've always been an independent artist. And so it's been such crazy months of learning so much and just like asking a ton of questions and really trusting these people who have my back. And so, yeah, it was a few months in the making, if they were going to pick me up and give me that deal or not. And then they called me that Friday and they were like, congratulations, we want to pick you up and we're giving you a singles deal. And I was like, what? And I started crying, and it was such a crazy feeling. And as a little girl, you know, you are always dreaming of that moment. But I also am such like a doer. So I'm like, this is great. Let me celebrate. I love celebrating. And then I'm like, whew, okay, time to work. Time to get to work.
You're just amazing. You know? You're amazing.
Thank you. I'm really, really, really grateful for that and can't wait to see what's going to come next, because a lot of new music is happening and I get to get in the studio for the first time, like a real Nashville studio, in like 2 weeks. And I'm cutting a couple songs and I'm like, again, just pinching myself. Like, this is what I get to do. Like, this is my job. I get to go to bed and wake up every day. And like, all I have to worry about is my music career. And that's just insane.
Amazing. I'm amazed by you. And
very
the more
lucky.
that I learned about you today, I'm just like, you're amazing. And I have so much faith in you because you work so hard. And at the end of the day, and you're aware, like there's a lot of timing and divine elements to all of this life that we are living, but you've got to work hard and you've got to come with a positive attitude and you have to be gracious. Those things are so important in life, no matter what career field you're in, and you have those elements and all of the hard work and all of those soccer games and all of those things that you did mattered. And it's just like chill. So I'm going to end with chills. And anyway, I want to do this before we get into our wrap-up section so that everybody can find you. Can you hit us with your social media so people can click follow on you?
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram at Grace Leer Music. You can follow me on Twitter at Grace Leer Music. YouTube is just Grace Leer, I'm pretty sure. And then my website's graceleer.com. So, but I'm a big Instagram person. So Grace Leer Music, and then that'll kind of link to everything. So yeah.
Perfect. We love you. We all love you here.
I love
you. Okay, Grace, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The thing that's behind you. You know what we're talking about. Are you still down to do it? We'll do it.
Yeah.
Guys, before you go, listen, Grace has another hidden talent. She can sing, she can rap. I don't know if you can rap. She can dance what is it? Oh, she can do this very well.
I can do that.
But she's also a freaking Martha Stewart in the kitchen. All right.
I can't believe you
watched
told me that.
She's got her own show. It's called Taste with Grace. It's on her Instagram. You need to watch it. Every night she's cooking up something so gourmet. And I'm just, that's my way of saying gourmet. It's
Love
so gourmet. I want to hire her in your past life. Can you be my chef? Anyway, we couldn't end the show any other way than her bringing that skill right to your table right now. She's going to teach me how to make, what are these called? Rolled bites?
Energy bites.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to help you make energy bites because I learned some stuff about you as an eater. You don't eat meat, but I know you're a snacker. So, and I know you do a lot from home. So these energy bites are, and we'll get into it, but they're so easy to make and they're healthy and they are just like a great little midday snack. Sometimes I eat them for breakfast too. They're super yummy. So I'm excited to walk you through it.
We're going to set up shop. And then next time you see us, we'll be in our kitchen apparel. Ding, ding, ding. Woo! We're back in the kitchen, folks. And we're not just on the Margie Mays Show. We are now collabing with Taste with Grace. And she is going to teach us to make energy bites because you all know that I need more energy in the kitchen. And take it away. Tell me what to do. I'm a horrible cook. Here we go.
Okay, so energy bites, super easy. And if you guys have been to Trader Joe's, actually the recipe is on the back of the flaxseed meal. Good job, Margie. So I'm literally reading off of that, but I have a couple changes that I do. And again, all you need are rolled oats, which you can get any type of rolled oats. Flaxseed meal. We have peanut butter, honey, vanilla extract, raisins. I'm doing raisins, Margie. What are you doing?
Chocolate chips.
Love it. You can do raisins, You can do raisins or chocolate chips. And then my secret ingredient is coconut. I do unsweetened coconut flakes, but whatever. And these are just a great snack to have around the house. They're great for breakfast, super easy. You just store them there's no bake. You roll them up into balls and then you throw them in the fridge. Super, super easy. That's one thing I forgot. Maybe grab like a plate to put the balls on. Do you have a plate for them?
A plate, and also I'm using maple syrup instead of honey.
Love it. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Totally. Okay, so we'll throw them on a plate. Okay.
Plate. Okay.
So, yeah, so once we're done with the, she's rummaging through the kitchen.
Okay,
there
folks.
she is.
Pink plate and Jemima's. Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Let's do it. What to do. Okay, all right. So the first thing we're gonna do is start with the oats. So we're gonna do 1 cup of rolled oats, and we're gonna throw it in our bowl.
Oh,
okay.
Now I need a measuring cup, of course.
Oh, okay. Here she is. You're doing great. You're doing great.
And gourmet. Also, of course, I got steel cut oats, so I hope these work.
Oh, that's totally fine. You can do either or, just as long as they're oats. And then you're just gonna throw them in your bowl.
Smells good.
Done.
Done.
You did it. You did it.
Step 1 done.
You say
Amazing.
You can't cook. You're such a liar. Okay, and then we're gonna let's skip the chocolate chips and we're gonna go to the 1/2 cup of flaxseed meal. So I kind of like to do the bulk of the ingredients first and then the chocolate chips and the raisins at the end. So then do a 1/2 cup of the flaxseed meal.
Amazing. And you want to know a fun fact about this flaxseed meal?
Huh.
It was expired in 2017. I've had it since about 2015, so we'll see.
It's fine. I've eaten it expired too. It's not gonna kill you. And then we're gonna use that same 1/2 cup and do the 1/2 cup of peanut butter, which who doesn't like peanut butter? I love peanut butter. Love, love, love it.
Spoon. I was also thinking that a good derivative of that would be almond butter. Would probably be.
Oh yeah, you can any sort of nut butter, really. Any nut butter will be delicious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
So I'm kind of just scooping the peanut butter in there.
Yummy. Get it.
Yeah.
Wow,
so we got our peanut butter there. It's gonna go straight in the bowl.
Oh wow. I love Jif. Get after.
Oh, me too. Love it, love it. And then we're gonna do a 1/3 cup of honey or syrup. I only have like a little bit of honey left, so I'm just gonna use the rest that's in this bottle, but you can measure it out, Margie.
Okay, I'm measuring.
And why do you think that you haven't really been into cooking or, you know, think that you're very good at it?
So I have this problem. Have you ever like studied in psych classes, like the delay of gratification, like a marshmallow test with children? Have you heard of that? Where they study delay of gratification in a child, and they put a child down and they put a marshmallow in front of them, and they say you have to wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Marshmallow, and if you wait 5 minutes, you get 2 marshmallows, or you can just eat it right away. And
then
they leave the child, and children who couldn't wait and they just ate the 1 marshmallow right away, it's like they couldn't delay the gratification of eating it. They found that those children went on to the study was that like they had lower SAT scores, all this thing, because they couldn't delay their gratification. It's like kind of a practice in self-control or something like that. And I have a great delay of gratification, but I entirely lack it in the kitchen. It's like, feed me right now. Like when I'm hungry, I need to be fed. And because of that, the whole process of cooking, I'm just like, I need to eat it right now. So this is going to be cool for me if I can do it.
It's going to be great. So is the syrup in there now?
She's in.
Okay, let's do the teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
Do you have that? Okay, perfect.
No, I do. I just don't have any.
You can just splash it in. You don't have to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah, you can eyeball it. Doesn't have to be exact. Sometimes what I do is fill the cap up with the vanilla. It's basically a teaspoon.
That's
like
actually
you just
kind
of fill that guy up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Done.
Then I usually just do probably like a 1/4 cup of coconut. Like you don't really need that much, but just however much that you want. I love coconut, so I'll probably do like.
I love coconut.
I'm gonna do.
Doing it with my hands.
Yeah, just throw it in there. And then you're gonna do a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, and then I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of raisins.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Okay.
Raisins.
It's coming together. It smells really good.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good.
I probably should have used honey because I'm like sitting here thinking about this Aunt Jemima's, how sugary it is. But
it's fine. And then you'll know how to make them, Margie, and then you can, kind of play around with it. Some people take energy bites and throw protein powder in them, because then they'll kind of keep you fuller longer. So take your spatula. And so now if you guys can see, all the ingredients are just in the bowl. Margie, that looks great. And we're just gonna mix it all up until it's all kind of like sticky. And then we're using our hands, and we're gonna get dirty and literally just form them into balls.
Oh my gosh, you are amazing. This is gonna be like the snack that I make like when I have kids. Like this is gonna be my one go-to forever.
Forever. What do you guys want for dinner? Energy bites. Here you go, kids.
And literally my Band-Aid is falling off into the energy bites. I used a bunch of Target gift cards to buy like real people knives, because I only had knives for forever. And the first day I was like, oh, let me clean this off, and I sliced my finger open, and I'm still healing the wound. Oh wow, this looks so good though. Like I can tell this is gonna be.
Yeah, so then we're gonna get dirty, and we're just literally gonna take our hand, and it's really sticky, but you're literally just gonna form them into balls.
I could see why the fridge would be helpful too.
Yeah, so, and again, like I sometimes eat one before I put it in the fridge, but you kind of just make it into a little ball like that.
Cute.
And that's it. And then there's like a perfect little snack. It's filling. I don't know if you eat eggs, but like in the morning, sometimes I'll have a couple of energy bites and like a hard-boiled egg. That's like a really good little breakfast. And it's easy, and it's kind of like grab and go.
For nutrition.
They're just easy.
My nutritionist too. So basically, you're allowed to move in whenever you want.
You probably don't want me to be, because I can eat like a whole pizza to myself. So
me too.
Pizza's my own. Wait, let me see yours. How are they looking?
Well, so this is what my hands look like right now.
That's okay. Mine do too. That's okay. That's normal.
Okay, hold on. When I'm gonna make one more ball, and then I'm gonna rinse my hands so I can actually pick the plate up. Mine is a little goopy. Like I'm having a hard time making it a ball.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. You kind of just have to push it. Just kind of force it, because the peanut butter and the honey / syrup is what's gonna make it stick together.
Okay, so some of these are beautiful. The first one I made was the best one, shockingly, which is like kind of the reverse bad pancake thing. Okay, I'm gonna show you, but I have to get it on my freaking fingers. Oh my gosh, hold on. I look like it's like I'm like a pretzel stick. You know, like the pretzel sticks.
Oh my gosh.
I have pretzel. Oh, and my Sorry,
messy.
Okay.
So, I mean, I didn't time this, Margie, but I think this is probably like a 5-minute deal to make all this. What, 5-10 minutes?
So short. Yeah.
So short and easy.
Look how
So
stunning
easy.
this one is.
They look great.
So good.
Heck yeah.
And they
Delicious.
smell amazing. Okay.
So you can eat one now, totally. But then the other thing I do is I'll put them in a Tupperware container and then just stick them in the fridge and let them chill for a second. And then they're really good right out of the fridge too. But
also, I'm learning using a spoon is a really good hack to try to shape it.
Yeah, that works. I get messy. Do you want to eat one?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna eat one.
Bonjour bites. Let's see.
Cheers.
Okay, Grace, this is
Like it?
unbelievable. I love it. Okay.
Yay!
Oh my gosh. So now we have Taste with Grace, Margie Mays GOUR-MAYS. I'm gonna stop chewing.
These are mine.
Oh, yours are stunning. So your oats look a little bit different than mine because mine are the.
Oh yeah, that's
the
okay
steel
though.
cut.
I've done it with a steel cut too.
Honestly, these are so delicious. I hope you guys
Yay!
actually made this along. Amazing.
So easy.
Amazing. Dear my future children, you'll be eating this at least once a week. Okay. Sticky fingers and all, I want to say thank you. Oh my gosh, I already washed them off because it was crazy.
So gross.
I literally, fun fact, used to have a Band-Aid there before we made these. Okay.
Oh no!
I love you. You
I
were
love
amazing,
you.
Grace. This will be the longest episode of the Margie Mays Show because you are amazing. Everybody go follow Grace. We love her so much. I'm so proud of you and all that you've accomplished.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on this and talking to me.
Of course.
And
Thank
I love our
you.
friendship.
I
Okay.
love you so much. Thanks, Margie.
Bye. Okay.
Mwah.
Bye, guys. I don't. And I mean, not to steal that phrase from wherever that came from. I should know where lean in came from. But cutting that out of the show.